Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I am glad you made it. There are 5 separate, distinct benefits within one benefit. I wanted to talk this through a little bit with you and show you how you can leverage the VR&E, Veterans Readiness and Employment Program. And look, before you skip, hang up, move on, whatever, however you get off of this, I'm going to give you one of these that you probably don't know about that's actually under the Veterans Readiness and Employment umbrella. Are you ready for this? Under the Veterans Readiness and Employment Program, there is a track called Independent Living Track. Probably didn't know that. There are 5 different tracks. That's one of them, Independent Living Track. So there are 4 other tracks, but we're going to go through all 5 and kind of not dive too deep, but bring it to your awareness so that way you know what sort of benefits you can get through Veterans Readiness and Employment. They are vast and they are important to understand. All right, so with that, let's jump into it here. Hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. Every thumbs up and every minute watched really does help the channel expand its reach. I appreciate you very much for hitting the thumbs up and watching the video. Those 2 things alone help to drive the awareness to more of our brothers and sisters out there. Now, let's start it with this. There's no age limit for Veterans Readiness and Employment, the VR&E program, number 1. No age limit. Number 2, there is a monthly subsistence allowance that is also available to you when you are enrolled in VR&E. There's also a high dollar figure. There's 2 different ways that they will calculate your subsistence allowance. I'm going to touch on that as well. So first, let's just jump into these 5 tracks. I'm going to give you the overview real quick on these 5 tracks. Then I'm going to jump into the pay, how much it is, and then we're going to talk about the qualifications, what it takes to qualify and be eligible for Veterans Readiness and Employment. All right, so number 1, VR&E support and services tracks. All right, there's 5 of them. They have 5 support and services tracks to help you, the veteran, get education or training, find and keep a job, and live as independently as possible. All right, so number 1, re-employment track. If you're a veteran with service-connected disability, okay, so you have a service-connected disability or disabilities, the re-employment track can help you return to your former job and support your employer in meeting your needs. So you had to leave the job for whatever reason, and now you need to get that job back. And the VR&E program will help you get back into that previous employment. All right, so the next track, number 2, rapid access to employment track. If you want to find a job or career that uses your existing skill set, the rapid access to employment track can help you with your job search. So it's assistance with finding a job with your current skill set, education, and so forth. All right, next one, self-employment track, number 3, self-employment track. A lot of folks aren't aware that the VA is there to also help you in your aspirations to be self-employed. If you're a service member or veteran with a service-connected disability, we're seeing a trend, right? Service-connected disability or disabilities, and an employment barrier. The self-employment track can help you start your own business. That's fantastic. All right, number 4, the 4th track is employment through long-term services track. If you have a service-connected disability or disabilities and employment barrier. So, and an employment barrier. I can't keep doing the same job with my service-connected conditions. Doctor says I shouldn't be doing this anymore, whatever the case is, right? So if you have a service-connected disability and employment barrier, we, the VA, can help you get the education or training you need to find work in a different field. Okay, so now you're switching. I used to be a painter, right? Maybe art, an artist painting. Service-connected condition, lost my hand, and now I don't have that skill set anymore, right? I have an employment barrier, and I need to, due to my service-connected condition, and therefore I need to be retrained into something else so I can do that. So now, the last one here, independent living track. If you can't return to work right away, you may qualify for services that can help you live as independently as possible. So those are all great. Now we're going to jump into how much, not only, so let's use the most common thing that people think about when they think about VR&E, Veterans Readiness and Employment, is the long-term services track. So they identify there's an issue with your current employment, skill set, so forth, and here's a new one that you would probably do good in, and what is the gap between those two? Let's fill that with whatever training or education you need, and then we will get you over that hump and into that new employment. So this is employment through long-term services track. So insert education training in there to bridge the gap. So with that mindset, how much money will you get from the VA for a monthly subsistence allowance? There's two different numbers. Well, there's more than that. We're going to say if you're full-time. So if you're full-time in a traditional type of program, how much can you get? Let's think on that, and I'll pull it up and tell you the exact numbers. All right, got it pulled up here so I can give you the numbers as of now. They change every year. The VA makes the change themselves internally and applies it at the beginning of the fiscal year, meaning October 1st of whatever year it is, right? So October 1st, 2024 is the rates that we currently have, and they usually announce them in September of somewhere in September on what there will be moving forward for post 9/11, or not post 9/11, for VR&E subsistence allowance, as well as Chapter 35 dependent education allowance. So for this is what happens. There's two. One, if you have any amount, one day, 1 month, 1 week worth of post 9/11 GI Bill remaining, you can elect to receive a mirrored subsistence allowance that mirrors the housing allowance for post 9/11. That's huge. There is a cap. There is a cap on how much you can get, but it is substantially higher than the standard subsistence allowance. Now, if you don't have or you've never had post 9/11 GI Bill, then you will just get the standard subsistence allowance. It's still better than a rock in your shoe. So, with that, here's this little blurb here that I'm going to read to you, then we'll jump into the numbers. So in some cases, veterans participating in the VR&E program may receive a subsistence allowance while they pursue an educational or training program in preparation for the future career. The subsistence allowance is paid each month based on the rate of attendance in a training program, full-time, three-quarter time, half-time. The number of dependents also impacts the amount of the subsistence allowance and the type of training. If a veteran qualifies for the post 9/11 GI Bill, they may be eligible to receive the basic allowance for housing rate for subsistence. Now, you need to tell the VR&E counselor that, hey, look, I have some post 9/11 GI Bill remaining. I'd like to utilize that number to calculate my subsistence allowance. Now, if you can't remember that it's called that, you can just say the monthly payment, whatever it is. They'll know what you're talking about because that's what they do. Now, how much is the amount you will get paid? The maximum monthly rate for VR&E subsistence allowance is $3,355.39 per month. Now, if you have post 9/11 GI Bill and you're in a high cost area, that is that much or more, then that's how much you should be getting. If you're going to school full-time or a training program full-time. Now, if you don't have any post 9/11 GI Bill remaining, that's okay. You will still receive a subsistence allowance. Now, based on again, full-time is what we're going to look at. If you're doing institutional full-time with no dependents, it's $793.01 per month. If you have one dependent, it's $983.65 per month. If you have two dependents, it's $1,159.17 per month, and $84.47 for each additional dependent. So if you have a bunch of kids, then obviously the number goes up. So this is, I think, really important for a couple different reasons. One, there's 5 different tracks. One of those might apply to you, right? The second piece is this is an income driver while you're going through the program, which is also helpful, right? If you have post 9/11 GI Bill, highly suggest apply for, if you have a service-connected disability or disabilities, apply for VR&E first and try to utilize VR&E mirroring the housing allowance from your post 9/11, exhaust out your VR&E benefit, then you can utilize your save your post 9/11 and utilize it at a later date. Now, what qualifies you for VR&E, Veterans Readiness and Employment? All right. So if you are a veteran, you may be eligible for VR&E benefits and services if you meet both of these requirements. There are 2. You did not receive a dishonorable discharge, and you have a service-connected disability rating of at least 10%. Now, hang on with me because there's a couple little funky things in here. So when the VA receives your VR&E application, they will schedule your initial evaluations with a vocational rehabilitation counselor. The VRC will determine if you're entitled to receive VR&E benefits and services. So in other words, it's not guaranteed. You have to meet those 2 criteria, service-connected and not a dishonorable discharge, to be able to apply. And then the counselor decides if you're actually entitled for the benefit. Now, if you get denied, dust off and go again. I personally applied twice. So applied, denied. I guess I applied 3 times. I applied 3 times. Applied, denied, applied, approved. So I went through the process 3 times to get approved. Now, there's also another funky thing here, and it is the 12-year rule. Now, it only applies to some veterans, not all, which is another quirky, nuancy thing about the VA. So, if you were discharged from active duty before January 1st, 2013, your basic period of eligibility ends 12 years from one of these dates, whichever comes later. All right, so the first one is the date you received notice of your separation from active duty. Now, most people who are applying for this you have to have your service-connected condition, and most people don't file and get awarded at that same time period. So therefore, they're going to fall under this next one, which is the date you received your first VA service-connected disability rating. 12 years from that date of your first service-connected disability rating, if you were discharged from active duty before January 1st, 2013. All right, so there is even more nuance. There's loopholes in everything. The basic period of eligibility may be extended if a VRC, that's the counselor, finds that you have a serious employment handicap. Having a serious employment handicap means your service-connected disability significantly limits your ability to prepare for, obtain, and maintain suitable employment. A job that doesn't make your disability worse, is stable, and matches your abilities, aptitudes, and interests. So, for example, if you have exhausted your 12-year time period and now you're at year 20 since your service-connected disability, and you're on year 20 and you're thinking that you don't qualify, but your condition or conditions got a little bit worse, and you filed for an increase, and that increase was approved by the VA, that kind of gives you a little bit of, I guess, a footing to have that conversation with the rehab counselor and say, hey, look, I kind of struggled through and I made it through as long as I could. My condition got worse as evidenced by my increase that got approved a year ago. And I can't keep going on. This has now become a serious employment handicap for me with my current abilities, aptitudes, and interests. Therefore, I need to be retrained into something that I can do with my current service-connected condition situation. Right? So it gives you that ability to have that discussion. All right. So if you were discharged from active duty on or after January 1st, 2013, the 12-year period does not apply to you. So you can apply at any time. There's no limit on your eligibility. Now, what if you're still on active duty? If you're still on active duty, are you eligible for veteran readiness and employment? You may be eligible for VR&E benefits and services if you're a service member and you meet at least one of these requirements. You have to meet at least one. There's only two here. It has to be one or the other. You have a 20% or higher pre-discharge disability rating. That's a memorandum rating, and will soon leave the military. Or you're waiting to be discharged because of a severe illness or injury that occurred while you were on active duty. So you're going through, LDES or IDES, so the Legacy Disability Evaluation System or the Integrated Disability Evaluation System, and you're basically being med boarded out, right? So if that's happening, you can apply for it, and highly suggest that you do so for VR&E. Again, VR&E, Veterans Readiness and Employment, is a tremendous benefit that affords you the ability to really change your life for the better, right? A lot of us out here tend to focus on VA disability compensation. It's a great thing. You should absolutely do that. But there's also other benefits out there that can help change your life for the better as well. And this is one of them, in my opinion. With that, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.